Hey, folks, my guest this week is one of the godfathers of hardcore. He has the scars to prove it, and his legacy still is vividly remembered for his incredible athleticism and his amazing high spots and matches you saw throughout his incredible career. Known also as one of the legends of the ECW, welcome Terry Brunk, or as he's known around the world as the homicidal, suicidal, genocidal, what?
Don't call me Terry, please. You kill me.
Okay, let's do it again then, and I won't even mention it, okay?
Yeah,
right.
yeah. This isn't live, right?
This is what?
This is not live, is it?
No. No, we're recording. I can cut out anything
Yeah,
you want.
Don't call me Terry, please.
Okay, you got it. All right, let me do that. I'll do the intro again. We'll go, all right?
Yes, take two.
You got
Sorry.
it. All right, here we go. My guest this week is one of the godfathers of hardcore, and he has the scars to prove it. He's definitely vividly remembered for his incredible athleticism and his amazing high spots and matches seen throughout his amazing career. And he's also known as one of the legends of the ECW, which we'll get into. Known around the world as the homicidal, suicidal, genocidal, death-defying maniac, Sabu. Sabu, welcome to Primetime. How are you?
Thank you very much. I'm pretty good.
Hey, where did that nickname come from? Where the homicidal, suicidal, where did that all come from?
Paul Heyman came up with that. That's yeah. I don't like using it so much because it sounds like I'm bragging or something. I don't mind if someone else says it, but yeah. I don't say it myself. But yeah, Paul Heyman came up with that.
Well, I tell you, when you would look at your performances, though, they were just so much different than anything else anybody was doing at the time to that extreme. And, you think about that time, Sabu, that they had, there were brawlers out there. There was hardcore, but nothing like what you would do with it. But what was the difference back then? And I know that the original Sheik was one of the, the forefathers of that. But what was the difference to you between, these brawlers that would go out there and, work pretty stiff and hardcore?
Well, but brawlers were guys who weren't technical wrestlers. They were guys who were kickers and punchers and stiff. Yeah. So I just made the brawler athletic, with kicking and punching to another level,
Yeah,
so, everything I did kind of rough. Like my moonsaults are crooked and all that's kind of rough. So it looks a little more good. But I think it looks better than a smooth moonsault,
Yeah.
Or a smooth moonsault.
But when you were growing up and seeing this, I don't know if you thought maybe, you could do it better or you had other ideas on where you could take it from there. But it wasn't.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, but I'd say was it, to some people who really don't understand the art of it. I mean, there really is something to that. And did you recognize it back then when you were a young kid?
No, of course I want to be a wrestler, but
yeah.
And I was scared of my uncle, but I was scared to be like him also. When I was a kid.
Yeah.
Then when I started wrestling, he goes, "You can't be like me." So my first 5 years, I didn't even jump off the top rope, and I didn't bite anybody. I didn't bleed. I didn't even go out of the ring. It was all in the ring stuff, boring stuff that first matches do. And then I used to have these crazy moves in my mind, what I used to do in the backyard, because we had a ring in the backyard, and when I thought nobody was watching. And then when we were in Japan, I go, "Sheik, what should I do?" Because I never did any moonsaults or that in a match. And he goes, "Do what you do when you think I'm not watching." I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "When you're in the backyard, you think I'm not watching, I'm watching you. I'll do those things." I said, "All right." And so I did, and I got over the first night, and I did a new thing every night. And then everybody thought I was a flying magician.
Yeah. Okay, so and now that you mentioned your uncle, and I'm sure a lot of people don't know the history that your uncle, the original Sheik, Ed Farhat, was your uncle, as you mentioned. And what was it like for you as a kid growing up and being around him, and how did that relationship develop where you eventually got into wrestling?
Well, it's in the book, but I could tell you anyways. But I have a book that came out too, also.
Yes.
But Growing up, I stared at him and just kind of wanted to be like him, right?
Yeah.
I never talked to him. I was scared to talk to him. He always told me what to do, but I never say anything back. And then when I got shot in the face when I was 19, but I wanted to be a wrestler my whole life. So when I was amateur wrestling in school, it wasn't even to be a better amateur wrestler. It was preparing me to be a pro wrestler when I turned 18. It wasn't even to be a better amateur wrestler, to be a pro wrestler.
Yeah.
It was just a warm up for it. So when I got 19, I got shot. So I figured if I'm going to do this, I better do it before I get shot again, or So 2 weeks after I got shot, I went out and seen him, and it took off from there. He became my mentor, and I never left his side for 20 years.
Yeah, and you mentioned that book, Sabu, Scars, Silence, and Super Glue. It is an incredible book.
That's close enough.
Huh?
That's close enough. It's Silence, Scars, and Super Glue, yeah.
Well, it is. It's a great book. We'll mention this again, but how can folks get it? It's still out there through.
You can get it on Kindle, or you can get it on, what was that, Melissa? With my hold on. This is Super Jimmy.
Okay.
Hey, Sean, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, Sabu, I am great. I hope you're doing well too. The best way to get it, where you're like personally getting it right from Sabu and me, it's ordered off ecwsabu.com. So ecwsabu.com.
Okay.
And then you get a signed personalized copy from him, and I do a lot of his mail. We just moved, so we don't really have a good assistant yet where we are. So we do, I handle his mail for him, but ecwsabu.com. The $35 personalized copy is the best one to pick up.
Fantastic.
Yeah, or on Kindle if you just want to get it over the internet or whatever.
Yeah, Kindle too? Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting back to...
I prefer to order it from Kindle. That way I don't have to mess with it.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that again before we wrap up our conversation. But I wanted to kind of go through. You mentioned getting shot. I mean, there's a lot to that story right there. But tell me what it's like growing up on Staten Island. And were you an athlete growing up? I mean, what were you into?
Hey, where did I grow up? Staten Island?
Did you not grow up in Staten Island?
No, you got that from Wikipedia, and I don't know where they got that from. I'm from Michigan.
Yeah, they had me growing up in Phoenix, which I never did either. So, where'd you grow up?
Lansing, Michigan.
Well, I promise you, I don't get just my notes from Wikipedia, but that's one the guy that works with me sent me that. I'm like, really? Okay. So tell me about growing up. What it was like growing up, and were you an athlete?
Yeah. Me and my brother. I had 3 brothers and 3 sisters, and my 3 brothers are just 1 year and 2 years older than me, or 2 years and 3 years older than me.
Yeah.
So we played baseball, football, whatever season it was. We had uniforms and we played it. Every year until like 6th grade or something. Then we started playing real football.
Yeah. So was that your sport? I mean, were you you like football?
Everything was our sports. Baseball, football, and but not wrestling. Only wrestling was my sport. My brothers didn't like wrestling. But we were all football players forever. And in high school, junior high and high school, but I was a wrestler. They were never a wrestler. They were beating me up my whole life, but they didn't wrestle me.
So were you points in your life thinking, that I might be able to play some kind of professional sports? Was that?
Yeah. No. Everything was to gear me to be a wrestler. Football, baseball. Really? I took all that, and I'm not kidding. When I was doing it, I was saying, this is going to make you a better wrestler. This is going to make you a better wrestler. So I'd lift weight to be a better wrestler. I'd eat steak to be a better wrestler. I played baseball to be a better wrestler. Huh. Whatever it took, whatever I did was to hone me to be a wrestler.
So you said you had a ring in the backyard, though. Is that, something that your brothers and you guys were all into?
No, the backyard was my uncle's backyard. Okay. He always had a ring, but I never got into it until I was 19. I was never allowed in there. I could look at it and all that and hit the canvas, but I could never, hit the apron with my hands when I was little. But he never let us in the ring. I couldn't get into it till I was 19. But when I went out to get trained by him, I moved out into his house, and it was 7 months until I got in that ring. I had to chop wood and be his slave for 7 months and not say, hey, when can I get in the ring? He never said, never ask anything, just do what I say. And for 7 months, I didn't see her. I couldn't even get in the ring. I seen the ring. I never got in the ring.
Did he want to see how bad you wanted it? Was that his process?
And how disciplined. I wanted to see how bad I wanted it and how disciplined I was.
Wow. So before we get into
whatever I did wrong, he'd correct me, and I never did it wrong again. Never. Whatever he corrected me on, I did it wrong again.
Was he always this mysterious figure growing up? Like you said, he didn't talk to you much. You were afraid to talk to him.
Yeah, I'd watch him talk to other people when he laughed and joked and all that. Yeah. But I was so young that he wasn't a buddy of mine. He was my uncle and a giant man, a star. I seen him on TV. He was giant, unbelievable. And so I was afraid to talk to him. But I would always stare at him. He had said, I knew you would come out and see me. How would you know that? I go, how would you know that? He goes, because you stared at me your whole life.
Yeah. Wow. And who were some of the other, I don't know how much you were exposed to as far as other professional territories in Lansing, Michigan, but who were some of the other
there was none in Michigan. I didn't wrestle in Michigan until probably 9 years into my career.
Yeah.
I didn't wrestle Michigan, Detroit. I'm not Lansing. I didn't wrestle in Lansing until probably 9 or 10 years into my carear. I wrestled in Detroit a lot, but my mother's never seen me wrestle.
Yeah, but what about growing up though? What did you follow when you were growing up?
What wrestling did I follow?
Yeah. What were you able to see there?
Well, big time wrestling. That was the only wrestling that I knew of. I didn't even know there was any other wrestling growing up. I only thought big time wrestling was the company's company.
So when your uncle started training,
what's that?
I said, so when your uncle started training you, was it pretty much just basic wrestling? He wasn't training. Was he training you to be hardcore, or was it no? You got to learn the basics.
No. I didn't have a cage match for 5 or 6 years. I didn't have a hardcore match until I went to Japan 7 years.
Wow.
I never had a barbed wire match until 7 years. All this stuff gradually evolved. You never have that stuff. You never say, I'm going to practice for a barbed wire match when you're green. You're going to practice for the first match if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And hardcore stuff, when anybody trains with me, we don't bash each other with chairs. I hand-to-hand wrestle them. Then when they're good at that, then I'll bash them with a chair.
Right. Yeah.
I used to have guys come to my house thinking we're going to do backflips all day. We didn't do one backflip all week.
Really?
I taught them how to lock up, how to headlock, and how to armbar, and how to arm drag, and all the stuff that everybody thinks is boring, but you got to be good at.
Yeah. So before we really get into it, and it obviously had a big impact in your life, how did you get shot?
I was at a party for a friend of mine, and these guys from across the street came over and caused some trouble. Yeah. So out of the corner of my eye, I seen this dude pull out 2 guns. It looked like out of the socks, but it wasn't out of the socks. He pulled them out. He was low with them and pulled them out. He had 2 guns in his hand. And this is out of the corner of my eye. He was shooting my friend in the stomach. Bam, 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 bam. Then he took off running, so I ran after him. And while he's running, he's shooting behind him. But I caught him and threw him down. And during the tumble, he pushed the gun against my face and shot me.
Oh,
yeah. There was no closer than point blank you could get. It was right against my face. And shot me, in my cheek, kind of. That was that.
So it was just like a clean in-out wound? You didn't suffer any...
It was a clean, dirty in wound. I had powder burns all down my throat, pellets in the back of my throat. When the bullet hit my teeth, it shattered and went to my nasal cavity and the back of my throat. So I actually got shot in my throat. And and the powder burns killed me. I couldn't breathe I was coughing for weeks. They burned my lungs. The powder flash went down my throat.
Mm. Wow.
But anyways, I survived it, and nothing else has hurt as much.
No, but obviously it I know you were blessed that to have something like that happen. And how did that change your life to you getting into what you ended up doing for a living?
Well, at the time, I was really wild. I just got out of high school, a year before that. Yeah. And so I was still partying, jamming and stuff. And when I got shot, that's when I stopped partying and jamming and started lifting weights and eating right and training. And then, like I said, 2 weeks out of the hospital, I went and seen my uncle, and I didn't look back.
Wow. So tell me about the early years, though, of training. I mean, it sounded like it took a while. He wasn't going to let you go out there and perform professionally.
I trained 2 years.
Wow.
I trained 2 years. I didn't have my first match till I was 21. I trained 2 years, and then I wrestled 5 years. Just hand-to-hand wrestling, no high spots. The only high spot I would do would be a drop kick.
Wow.
It was all boring stuff. But anyway, the stuff that you have to learn to be a great wrestler. You have to know this stuff. You can be a good wrestler without it, but if you know that stuff, you could be a great wrestler.
Yeah, and
someday I will.
What was the territory? Because a lot of people don't know about the territories back then. That you would work in an area, and then
when I started, it wasn't really a territory. It was spot shows. My uncle ran a little bit, but it was mostly the spot shows in Ohio, Indiana, and Michigan, and that was in Windsor and Ontario. It was the spot shows, and my first territory sort of would be Dave the Bearman in Ontario. Every summer I'd go up there and wrestle for 2-3 months, and there was no really territories anymore. This is when Vince was taking over.
Right.
Territories were dead then.
Really, even then, huh? It was there wasn't the independent world was really.
It was terrible. Yeah, that's all. I didn't know the difference between independent and anything else. I thought everybody was independent.
Yeah.
Vince killed everything.
So what?
But
Really,
he also he killed the territories, but he made more money than ever for the wrestlers. The wrestlers now are the highest paid ever. Ever. Obviously, Guy didn't make money like that. My uncle didn't make money like that.
Yeah. Well, and I guess everybody has a lot to thank him for it. But at the time, it was because I came in, I started working for the WWF in '88, and that was when the world had really changed because they had WrestleMania 1 in '85, but those early '80s is when it really completely changed completely. But as we look back, look what it did for the business. I mean, there's a lot of
it's
people
unbelievable.
don't realize that. What was the? Yeah, go ahead, Sabu.
That's all good. No big deal. Go ahead.
What was the? I don't know if you'd call it your first big break, but was it was it going to Japan that really changed your life as far as professionally?
Yeah, the first 5 years I made less than $100 a match. I made, if we're lucky, 25 or 50 a match. After 5 years, I started making $100 a match. So I made $100 a match until 7 years, till I went to Japan. After I went to Japan, I made a living. So my break with Japan, I didn't make a living until till I went to Japan, 7 years into my career. Wow. 9 years into my training.
And
15 years into my wrestling.
And what was wrestling like at that time in Japan? Because other people have been guests on here.
It was just starting to get like Onita's company was just starting out to be hardcore. It was different, and it wasn't called hardcore. It was just called Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling. Where he called it martial arts wrestling because we'd fight, karate guys in a barbed wire match or something. So it was funny. But some of the guys they couldn't work, But anyways, the wrestling in Japan, there was Baba and Inoki, their companies, and that was like that was the top dollar ones, and then the lesser companies was FMW, IWA, and a few other ones, and Ring. And so I went to FMW where they said no one made money, but I made money. They paid my uncle very good, and they paid me pretty good.
Uh-huh.
And that changed when I came over. I changed the pay scale. I'm sorry. Yes, pay scale for independent guys. So they had to up everybody else's money.
And why was that? I mean, because you were that good?
No, not in the beginning. Yes, I mean, I got a decent payoff before I got to Japan because of my uncle. Then I got more because I was that good. I'm not trying to say that I was that good, but I'm just saying what you said. They paid me more because they liked me.
Yeah. Well, and was it as crazy over there as far as I mean, those matches were basically shoot matches, a lot of them, right? That they you really had to.
Yeah, they were half shoots. Of course, the finish was the work, but they were half shoots where there was very stiff with chair shots and everything was because they weren't good at the guys he would use, the green guys and the American guys he would use. They weren't very good, but they could bash the shit out of each other. Like Mike Awesome in the beginning, he wasn't very good, and Horace Motor, they weren't very good, but they could bash the shit out of each other.
But that isn't
and not bitch about it.
Yeah, but that's what they expected too, right? When you went in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And did you ever really get hurt doing those matches because of not only what they expected, but like you said, some of these guys weren't as talented and as skilled at doing these matches?
Yeah, you're getting a concussion almost every night, or every other couple of nights you get knocked out, or stitches in the back of your head, because we cut our heads every night, but the chairs most of the back of our heads open on just about every other chair shot there. So stiff. Even if you blocked them, they fling the chair. And Japanese chairs were so heavy and they fling them so hard that even if you blocked them, they'd knock the shit out of you.
So is this at this point where you started to embrace hardcore more, learn more techniques?
Yeah. I was taking what they're doing to an athletic level. Like I could hit you with a chair, but I'd throw it to make it look better. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or I could sit in the chair, but I'd jump off it to make it look better. So whatever they did, I wasn't trying to degrade what they did. I was just trying to make my own style. I wasn't trying to say in my head my own style. I'm just going to do it. I was thinking it was my way. I'm going to do it my way. He said hit him with a chair, I'm going to throw it. He said do that, I'll jump off it. Or he does that, I'll flip. Or something like that. If they go, can you do a run-in? Yeah. So I would do a different kind of run-in. I'd run, jump out the chair, apron, get in the ring, something like that. Now I can't do it. There's camera people in the way and fans. I can't do it. But anyways, anything they wanted me to do, anything they did, I just changed it into a athletic movement.
Were you always that?
Hardcore wasn't just punching and kicking each other. It was poetic.
Yeah. No, like I said, it's an art. I mean, to be able to do those moves, and I don't know, were you always that athletic? Did you have that that type of skill when you were younger?
Yeah, not wrestling athletic, but yeah, everything I did, played football and all that. I pretty much stood out. I didn't excel at anything because, like I said, it was all practice to be a wrestler. I didn't think anything that serious. And when they say, "Hey, you're in the All-Star game," I go, "Oh yeah, but I'm busy." That was a day off.
Yeah.
And I wasn't that good, but it didn't matter to me how good I was. It was all to hone me to be better later.
Yeah, but Sabu, you look at it, and and I've watched a bunch of these old matches with you, and if you really look at it for what you're doing, and it's for somebody looking at it, it's just like this mass chaos, but it's not. And there's like gymnastic moves, and there's almost like you're like a diver in some that everything has to be exact. And I just couldn't help but wonder, like, how did you work that out? Because you have to have somebody else who's able to do that with you to pull it off. So,
well, it was first done in Japan. Of course, the Japanese would do anything I wanted, and after I figured out what I was doing, because I was making it up as I was going along. After I figured out what I was next time, the guys were easy to do. Now in the States, they were stubborn. So I'd be doing moonsaults to the floor, and they'd move. The only one that would stand there would be Terry Funk. Anything I said, catch me. He goes, what? I'd do a flip on him, and he'd catch me. Then he goes, catch me. Then he didn't do a flip, but he'd do a dive, his type of dive on me, and I'd catch him. And then when people started seeing him doing that, they started saying, hey, well, I could take that.
But
I remember when I used to put a guy through the table in the very beginning in the States, I'd pay him an extra $100 if he would sell it to the hotel and tell people that it was stiff. Because after I put him through a table, they go, hey, that wasn't nothing. I go, yeah, but don't tell anybody. Otherwise, everybody will do it.
Yeah.
Then everybody started doing it.
And it sure looked like it. And how did you bring that in? Where did because nobody mastered that better than you.
Well, like I said, in Japan, they were doing power drivers to the table. So I took it to another level by doing a moonsault to the table.
Yeah.
One day, Malcolm, we did a match, and one day Malcolm said, "Get back in the ring and get your heat." I go, "What do you want me to do?" He goes, "I don't know, think of something." I go, well, "How about I moonsault the table?" He goes, "What's that?" I go, "I'll show you." I threw a table in the ring, and I moonsault to the table, and boom, the people went nuts. So the next night, I put a guy on the table, and they went nuts, and then it went off from there.
Wow. I'm telling you, you look back at that stuff, and now it's commonplace. You know, they do it all the time.
Like a headlock.
But back then, you must have brought the house down when you started. When that was something that you did. Was it? Was that the reaction when you brought it to the States?
Yeah. When I brought it to the States, the first time I did the stuff was in Philadelphia, and those fans knew who I was already, because they had the seats. So those fans, a hardcore fan isn't a fan that knows everything. A hardcore fan is a fan that will go watch any wrestling. And at the time, Philadelphia was the shit. They had big names, but the matches were really bad, and the TV was really bad. That hardcore to me was the bad TV and the bad matches. These guys weren't very good, but the people still wanted to see them because they'll watch anybody. Yeah. So when I came in and did my stuff, they go, "Wow, we're not watching just anybody. We're watching somebody special."
Yeah, and
after that, probably bring in somebody special.
Did you feel you had to keep raising the bar?
Yes and no. I didn't raise the bar because I was the bar, so I just kept trying to impress myself.
Right.
But,
But then you have, what comes with that though? Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
I said, but what?
I'm sorry again. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that what comes with that is that people want to do it as well, so they're kind of chasing you. I mean, is that the way you felt? Because then you would have to, everybody's doing it. Everybody's bringing a table out.
Yeah, I was very mad in the beginning when other people broke tables because they would do it. Paulie would have other guys, Public Enemy, break a table when I wasn't there. And I go, "Hey, did anybody break a table?" He goes, "No." And I go, "Well, I've seen the TV from last week." "Okay, someone broke a table." He goes, "Well, we didn't emphasize it." I said, "You just fucking, nobody broke a table." They said, "Nobody's seen it?" Yeah. But anyways, and then, so I didn't mind so much because they did it badly. They didn't do it like I did it. I did a couple of freezes, I did a thing, and then boom, and they would just go boom, And they got a great reaction because the people just wanted to see anything. Like I said, hardcore fans are happy to see anything.
Yeah. But some of these things you came up with, and I don't know the truth to the legend of this, but of course that story is out there about that the match with the Sheik in '92 with the ropes that were with barbed wire, and they had gas-soaked rags on them or something. Was that?
Yeah.
What is the truth to that legend?
Well, it happened, but it wasn't very good. They go at the end of the tour, you're going to have a fire match. I said, "Oh, what's that?" They go, "You'll see." And then they showed me a diagram of it, and it was 8-foot 2x4s wrapped in bed sheets soaked in kerosene for like a week. And they had 2 on the top, 1 in the middle, and 2 on the bottom. So there's 5 on each side. That was the diagram. At the last minute, I go, "Don't put the bottom ones on, because how are we going to get out?" They go, "Jump over." I go, "No, Marco can't jump over, so don't put the bottom ones on." They go, "Okay, we won't put the bottom ones on one side." So they didn't put the bottom ones on one side. So the fire. So then they go, after about 10 to 15 minutes, wait for the fire to go down and then do a high spot. I said, "Okay." We get into the match. 2 minutes in the match, we're all crowded in the middle saying it's too hot. And we only went about 6 minutes, I think. And then, so I ran and jumped out of the ring first and grabbed the bucket and threw it behind me because I figured my uncle was behind me. But he went out the other side where he did get through it, and it burned the shit out of his back.
Really?
Like he was in the hospital. He was in the hospital a couple of weeks, and he sold it for about 6 months.
Yeah, well, not all of them work, right? Like, jeez.
And they couldn't put it. They couldn't put it out, and the ring burned till like morning, till the next day.
Jeez, that's amazing. Most remember you from ECW, and that is where much of the legend about you derives. What was it? What was the ECW at the time when you arrived there? And I think it was in '93. I hope I'm correct there. But
it was in '93. Yes,
Yeah.
I think so. Yes, it was just a bunch of guys that weren't that good. Like nothing against Sandman, but he knows he's not that good, a technical wrestler. But he tried to be one. He was a surfer with white stuff on his nose. Sandman was supposed to be Sandman the surfer, not Sandman the nightmare.
Yeah.
When I got there, I go, man, these guys are terrible. So I go, I'm just going to do my regular match. So I did my regular match with Taz, but which was extreme to anybody else, and they went nuts. Like Taz was the right opponent for me, and because he wrestled real hard and stiff, he wanted to prove something to me because he thought I was stiff, but I just look stiff. I'm not stiff. If anybody when they wrestle me, they go, wow, you're a lot smoother than I thought. I go, yeah, you're supposed to look rough.
Yeah,
that's
right.
good. The game is to look rough.
Yeah, I mean, you had to pay people to tell them that you were just with the tables.
Yeah, I had to pay them to tell them.
Yeah, that you were stiff. Was it this a collection of I don't know. I mean, I guess they like to think of themselves as rebel, but it was kind of rebels. They were kind of the anti WWF, I guess, at the time. Did you guys kind of look at it that way, that you were just doing what you wanted to do and didn't want anybody telling you how to do it?
Yeah, after I came in and got over it, it changed slowly into extreme. That wasn't the vision. The vision, and Paul took over the same day I came in, so he let the guys do pretty much what they wanted to do, and that's great. Except for sometimes you can't let guys do what they want to do if they're not good at it. But the people appreciate it, so they would do what they did, and they weren't good at it, but they were killing each other. So it got over, and then eventually we'll call it hardcore.
Yeah.
Nobody knew what hardcore was at the time. They just thought it was brawling.
But to you, was it always, I guess, in a sense, art? I mean, you always were, prepared to make sure that no one got hurt, and whatever you did, whatever your high spot was going to be, you prepared for it, and wanted that person who's going to do it with you.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff would be stay or move, and so the guys would move,
Yeah.
So, but I still the move in or the flip in or whatever it is. But yeah, I forgot what the question is.
Well, I'm saying that the way, if you were watching it back then, and it was just people thought it was just chaos. That nobody really, they just did these crazy things. But I know I've heard you talk before that it wasn't that way with you. You made sure that you were prepared, knew what you were doing, knew what that other person who was going to be in that ring was going to be protected. I mean, was that always your philosophy?
I never did a crazy move that I haven't already did in practice probably 20 times or more.
Yeah.
Everything I did in practice. I had a ring to practice, and Marco goes, you can't do that with somebody. I go, okay, well, why not? He goes, it's too stiff. I go, you're right. So I'd make whatever I did unstiff, only stiff to myself. So I took most of the pounding. I took all the pounding. I took 95% of the pounding more than my opponent.
Yeah. And how much of a toll did it take on your body?
What's that?
I said, how much of a toll did it take on your body, even early on?
Yeah. Early on, it didn't bother me.
Really?
Not now it bothers me, but it didn't bother me. That's why I'm so fucked up now, is because I didn't get surgeries when I should have, because I could overcome it with pain pills or just stubbornness, because I didn't want to take any time off. I never took any time off. The only time I took time off was when I caught an infection, and I had to take a whole year off. I couldn't walk for a few months. But anyways, that's the only time I really took any time off. I never intentionally said, I'm going to take some time off. It's just, there'd be spells where I didn't work for a couple of weeks, but I never took time off. Even now, I work almost every week.
Yeah, it's amazing. I don't know how you keep doing it. It's
and if the price is right and the people are there, I'll bust my ass. I'd bust my ass anyways, but really bust my ass if the people are there.
Yeah, so tell me more about the ECW and what that atmosphere was like, and some of the people that were there with you that you saw coming up and who became big stars, too.
Well, ECW was electric to me. Whenever I come out, you could feel the cheering. Before I'd go out, you could, they chant my name all through the show. You could feel them. They vibrated the building. That was awesome. And then, what else was the question? I could smoke as weed.
Yeah, but what was it about the ECW that was so different than these, than other groups? Because it was...
because no one censored us. We didn't have no censor. Paul Lee was our age. He was in the same hip crowd as MTV, you know, and it was the MTV age. We got to do what we wanted, and there was no censor. I got to do what I wanted. That's how I got to be so, not poetic, but got to tell my story my way. Because Paulie let me do it that way. So did Japan. They let me do whatever I wanted also, within reason. Paulie let me do anything I wanted without reason. I could do anything I wanted.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's why people appreciated it.
Yeah, that's where I give Paul credit for that. You know, that's how you find out who. If you want an artist to be an artist, you let him be an artist. You don't tell him what to do. You let him be an artist.
Yeah. Well, and it seems that element is missing, I think, somewhat from today's product. I don't know what your feeling is on it, but I think that anytime you're trying to tell people how to perform, it's not a good idea.
But now they have a blueprint. There was no blueprint. The blueprint you make up, you go along. You make the blueprint as you go along. Now there's a blueprint where here's the promo station, here's the tumbling station, here's the top rope station. Like they all go through these steps weren't there before. You know, everybody's taught different, and they're taught to be like actors. You know, got to get your character down in this before they have a match. No, you don't. You got to learn how to headlock before you get your character down.
Yeah. Well, and I don't think it was too far from this. Like a year later, I mean, I think the WWF came calling. But was there a loyalty to ECW, or did you like the freedom? What was it that I think you basically turned them down, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, that was in '94. Yeah, it was loyalty to Paul Heyman. It wasn't even loyalty to ECW. It was loyalty to Paul, because Paul, he got me. Well, he goes, I got to tell you something before your match. I go, what? He goes, do something amazing. I go, oh, okay. I'll think something. That's the only advice he'd give me. So for him just saying that was great. You know, he knows I was going to do something amazing. You know. So
did you fear that being with the WWF, they would stifle that? They would try and control you?
Yeah. When I talked to Vince, he said, you know, they wanted to tone my style down and modify my look and have the Iron Sheik as my uncle. And I go, no way I can do that.
Oh,
you know, the Sheik thing wasn't a deal breaker. The change my look was a deal breaker. Modify my look was a deal breaker. But when he carried on, he said the Iron Sheik was my uncle. I said, no way. Like, I giggled when he said that. I said, no way. And like, he was dead serious. I thought he was joking. But anyways, later on, I see a character came out that's called the Sultan. And the Iron Sheik was his mentor, uncle. But they offered me good money, and I go no, and Vince goes, how can you turn us down for a company that might not even be there tomorrow? I said, I don't know, because maybe it will be here tomorrow. And then he goes, well, when you're ready, come back. And then when I come back, it wasn't quite as friendly, but
yeah. So what was it about the ECW though what was its demise? Was it just mismanaged? Because it always had a popular product.
Yeah, that's what I'd also add to that. It would have broke my uncle's heart if I would have took on the Iron Sheik as my uncle, even if it was a work. It would have broke his heart. But anyways, I'm sorry. What was that? What was the question?
I'd say that you did have this loyalty to Heyman or the ECW, and it did have a very popular product. It was a great alternative to what they were putting out. But what was its demise? Was it just badly managed?
We were getting too small for our britches. Like we had all these big shows all around the country, and we couldn't fill the fucking arenas. You know, the only time we do good is during a pay-per-view, and that was only in the arenas we did good. Our buy rates were terrible. You know, because we would have been good by now, maybe. You know, but the demise was we got too small for our britches. Our name was bigger than we were. You know.
Yeah. Well,
and we had the money to show it. You know.
Yeah. Now, when you would eventually show up in the WWF, but you never spoke really before that time. Why not? Because you could cut a promo. So what was it? Just
no, I can't cut a promo unless they just say slap me in the mouth and I go, hey mother, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
Because I can't. read a lot. They gave me lines, a script, and there were words I would never say in a million years. And I go, I would never say these words. They go, but you're gonna now. I go, no, I can't. I can't. When I was a kid, me and my mom was watching wrestling, and we seen somebody come on the TV and go, blah, and in 5 minutes we see somebody else do the almost same thing, different words, different guy, but almost the same thing. Blah, and she goes, promise me when you grow up you'll never do that. I go, Mom, I'll never say a word. And then this was like when I was 10 or 12 years old, and then when I got to be a wrestler. Now I don't talk because I don't talk because I'm shy, and also I told my mother I never would.
Really?
Yeah. She goes, tell me you'll never embarrass me like that. Well, I'll never say a word.
But if somebody didn't hand you lines, like say this, could you do it? I mean, just top of mind, because you knew that character?
Not as Sabu, I don't think I could. Yeah. But like if I was acting in another role sort of or something, I don't know. Yeah, I probably could, if the price is right. But, they don't want to pay me extra for it, so why would I want to do it now?
Yeah. Well,
I even said to Vince that you're not paying me enough to do this stuff.
Yeah. And
he just raised an eyebrow. He didn't say nothing. I thought he was going to say, well, how much do you want? Then we're talking. But they wanted me to do extra work and destroy my character go against my best judgment and make me talk. My best judgment was saying, I'm going to hurt myself if I talk. And I was right. People, man, I heard you talk. Now I know you're human. Before that, I didn't want the people who didn't know me know that I wasn't a monster.
Yeah. So do you feel, it seems to me you always said you were always pretty straight shooter as far as talking to tell. Do you think that held you back with a company like the WWF because it couldn't be any other way?
Yeah, I'm sure it did. But I thought I could get them to see my way.
Yeah.
When I go, I can't talk. Get me someone to talk for me. They go, Umaga already has that gimmick. I said, I was doing it before Umaga was born. But that's okay. I said, what the fuck? But yes, it held me back. Sure it did. Part of the gimmicks of wrestling now, category, all the things they look at is promos, this, that thing. Before, when I was coming up, they go, he can't talk. Okay, don't have him talk. We'll give him a gimmick where he doesn't talk. Yeah. Or we'll get him a guy where someone talks for him. They didn't make him talk if he couldn't talk. So now they make you talk. They go against my best judgment. So I was very, it didn't say, it was against my best judgment, and they weren't paying me enough.
Yeah.
If they would have showered me with money, I would have got over that best judgment shit.
Yeah. Yeah. That always works, right? What was it though that you finally said that you'd had enough with ECW after all that loyalty and commitment to that group? What was it that finally did it in '95?
Brother, I went 6 or 8 months with pay-per-view checks bouncing. I went 2 months with no pay with a bank account in England. I didn't realize it until about 6 weeks. I go, man, none of these checks are going through. Mm-hmm. I have no money in the bank. So 8 weeks into it, I got a secret meeting with Kevin Sullivan and J.J. Dillon, and they offered me more money than I could count. And before I got home, before I signed the contract, I called my mother to tell her about it. And she had a heart attack on the phone before I could tell her because something was going on at home and she panicked and had a heart attack. So I didn't tell her. Oh. So I didn't sign the autograph. I didn't sign the contract, and I flew home. And she was in intensive care. So I called Kevin Sullivan and said, hey, I'm going to fax over the contract now, signed. Okay? And he goes, no, too late. We're already being sued by Paul Heyman. And all it was a threat of the suit was enough for them to drop it. And I would have been still rich right now if they would have came through with it.
Oh man! So what? In the meantime, so you instead of going to WCW, you went to New Japan?
Yeah. Well, no, I went everywhere else. Everywhere else. But I went to All Japan actually. I went everywhere else, and I still made money. I didn't make the money I was going to make in WCW. They went out of business a year later. $60 million that year. It could have been $61 million. What's wrong with that?
That's right. You could have had one of them. Right.
Yeah, and they wanted me to the top spot to run with it. They were going to give me the big push. Kevin was, and even had someone talk to me. Somebody of my choice talk for me.
Oh, yeah.
Back in my big time.
Yeah,
And then I was blowing my load in my pants. So I said, I have to go sign this. I have to go read this in my room. And Kevin goes, read it, just sign it. I said, just give me a few minutes. And so I went to my room and disappeared. They go, what the fuck?
Wow.
But Paul, they thought I just died or something.
Did you ever remind Paul of that he cost you a lot of money?
No, he knows he did. Yeah. He knows. Yeah. And the thing was, I was just going to go to WCW for a year or two and then come back to ECW, a bigger name. But hopefully that was my plan. I had no real ill intentions against ECW. I just wanted to get paid. I was too old to take promises.
Yeah. Well, and you've been in the business too long. Yeah. So when you did appear with the WCW, was that just I don't know, what kind of a contract did you have with them?
Well, when I did, that was way before that. That was years before that. I did a little run where, let me think here. Kevin Sullivan goes, for the first Monday Nitro, he goes, how much would it cost to get you in on our first Monday Nitro? He goes, it's against Vince, it's a big deal. And the guy I picked to be number one over everybody. And I go, I can't do it. I got to be in Japan. He goes, how much for the second one? I said, you don't have to pay anything, Kevin. Just put me over. He goes, we got to pay you something. And I said, okay, $500, which was I should never said that. He goes, okay, you got it. So I wrestled. They liked me, and then they offered me a contract that was for $500, $500 a night. And they go, for one pay-per-view on Monday a month, you only work twice a month. You can't work for nobody else. No indies, no TV, no nothing. I go, for $1,000 a month. They go, yeah, that's what you wanted, $500 a match. You got what you wanted. I go, no, that's what I said. To look at me. They would negotiate. I mean, how stupid is that? And they didn't offer me no more. They said, we'll take it or leave it. I said, later. Well, then later on, they called me again, and then that's when I talked to Kevin, and then that was different, And Bischoff wasn't in charge no more, and Kevin and JJ was, And anyways, that was that. They offered me a $500 match, and they thought that was okay. That was gonna, and didn't offer me no more. That was take it or leave it.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things that people don't realize. The timing. It just seemed like it was off several times for you, where you should have. You talked to other wrestlers. You were as big as the biggest stars around then, and to think that that's how things laid out, where you're going to get a big contract, and then something else happens, and then somebody else is threatening to sue, and they back off. Did it seem kind of like that's just the way it seemed to go for you?
Yeah. No, I'm not meant to hit the big one. I'm just not that. Obviously, I'm meant to struggle, I guess.
Yeah. When
I almost.
Go ahead.
I just said I almost hit the big one, but I didn't quite get there.
Oh, you're talking with WCW? That one?
Fucking everywhere, If I wouldn't have quit ECW, maybe it wouldn't have went out of business, and that would have been the big one. If I would have signed that contract instead of trying to call my mom, maybe that would have been the big one. Yeah. Or if I would have went to the events with the ECW and shit, maybe that could have been the big one. But none of them was, but they almost was.
Yeah, well, and when WWF acquired, or WWE, I should say, acquired ECW, and you were part of that in '97. Did you think that maybe this is it? This is I'm going to be part of this, and come in and.
Yeah, and it was it. It was it for Paul Lee. Paul Lee had a secret deal just for him and Vince, and didn't give a fuck about us.
Yeah.
He had a deal and getting paid when we're starving. He goes, I can't even buy a pair of socks. I said, yes, you can. Your mom and dad are rich. He goes, I can't buy a pair of socks with my own money. I said, well, that's not your choice, because your mom and dad was you. You don't have to buy a pair of socks. They'll buy it. So yeah, you ain't bought a pair of socks. I believe it. Your mom buys them. I buy my socks for my mom. She still buy it for me. I buy it for her.
So, what was that experience like with when you were there? When they were using the ECW.
It was true. The second time around, because Vince knew me from before,
Right.
and he shook my hand shook my arm off my shoulder, and I had a bad neck, so I sold it, and he laughed. He thought I was kidding, and I was saying, like, this guy's an idiot. No, not an idiot. I didn't say that. This guy's a retard.
Yeah.
He's not no idiot. He's a retard. He's goofy a little bit. But anyways, it was cool. He acted like he liked us and all that stuff, but we had absolutely no positive ratings or no more ratings that they didn't already have. They didn't go up. They weren't impressed with that.
Yeah.
But that's not my choice. It's because I don't know why. It's not my choice anyway. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, that was
I don't question anything. I never question shit. I just say what's next.
Yeah. Well, when
I'll really fix it.
when you it never seemed like they really knew what to do with it, and it was, I mean, they had some really talented individuals that were a part of that. It just didn't seem like they ever really knew what to do with it when they had it.
Yeah. Like in Detroit, they had me wrestle there, and Vince will go, "Will someone do a job?" I go, "No. Like, why would I want to do a job? I thought you liked me." He goes, "Well, just to see how vulnerable you are, or how workable you are, cooperative you are." And he didn't say that to me directly. He said it to Paul, and Paul goes, "No, you can't beat him. He's our biggest name." So he wanted me to do a job just to see how cooperative I would be.
Yeah.
I mean, we're invading there, and I'm like the top guy, sort of, or close to it, and he wanted to beat us, and that was still in the time where you can't come in and beat the WWF, they have to go around all the matches, so we had to bring our own guys in and wrestle them. I wrestled Scorpio, but he was considered one of our guys, and Taz wrestled Mikey Whipwreck. We had to wrestle our own guys. We couldn't wrestle their guys because we'd have to lose to them, which would be why we're not going to invade it and then get our shit kicked out of us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Sabu, I wish you would have become those contracts would have come your way, because you certainly paid your dues, and man, did you entertain people. I appreciate the time you've given us. I've got some questions, and when people heard that we were going to have you on, I got flooded with some questions, and I'm hoping I could throw a few at you if that'll work.
Yeah.
All right. First one's from Ethan Fisher. He says, in 1995.
Hold on. I have to warn you. The answer might be next.
Yeah, good. Just lay it out there, however you want to deliver it. You got it. Okay. Ethan Fisher says, in 1995, what was behind you leaving ECW and going to Japan? Was it anything to do with money or any ill will at the time with Paul E? Immense respect for what you do, and thank you for the years of blood, sweat, time you put into entertain us fans. So he wants to ask about 95 and that whole departure.
Yeah, that's in my book, but I'll tell you anyways. I was double booked April 8th, 1995, and I was double booked in Japan and in ECW. ECW paid me $750 a month. Japan paid me $6,000 a week.
Wow.
Which one do you choose?
Yeah.
Which one do you do? Which one?
Yeah. Especially they hadn't exactly been true, right?
Yeah. That's a silly question if you ask anybody else. But to Paul, I was kicking him in the balls, and I was in a three-way tag match where there were 6 guys in the match. I had 5 other guys that could cover for me, but they made a big deal about it, and he fired me, and I went to WCW for a couple months.
Yeah. All right. This is from Aiden Yastro. He says, just exactly how close did your uncle's sword come to piercing Jerry Lynn at Halloween Havoc in 95?
Yeah. Now, of course, you can get without piercing him.
Really?
without impairing, yeah. I didn't know this. It wasn't a planned spot, and Dusty Rose thought it was. I had Jerry on the ring, and I went to do a side moonsault to him, and my uncle come in behind him. And Jerry goes, no, because my uncle didn't know what I was doing. So I did the flip on him, and we fell on my uncle. And the sword went like almost in his side. I couldn't believe it, that he didn't get impaled by it. I seen him when I'm upside down. I go, "Oh shit, there's Sheik!" Boom, and then when I looked at him, Sheik couldn't stop, so I thought he had a heart attack. But what happened was, he didn't impale Jerry, but I broke his leg. I broke my uncle's leg. And so it was never the same after that. So when he died, he actually died with a broken leg, and I broke it.
Oh, jeez. He follows up here with, if WCW would have put you in the Dungeon of Doom because of your unique look and given you Kevin Sullivan as your mouthpiece, do you think you could have made a run of it? Or would that have been too much of a cartoon for this Sabu character?
I think too much cartoon.
Yeah.
If I was going to be there, I wanted Jimmy Hart to be my guy.
Really?
And that's like Kevin's one of my best friends and mentors.
Yeah.
And Kevin even said he even picked Jimmy Hart too. He goes, Kevin said he'd never manage me. It'd be too comical.
Yeah. Okay. Sean Daniels says, how was the atmosphere of One Night Stand pay-per-view in the WWE compared to old ECW shows before the WWE acquired it?
Oh, it wasn't compared. The crowd was great, but the wrestling was not ECW. They had Jericho and Chris Benoit. Benoit was there. He broke my neck, yeah, but he wasn't never ECW. Same with Guerrero and Malenko. Those guys are never ECW. They came in for a payday and left.
Yeah.
Left so they got their payday. That's not ECW. You know, so they had those guys on the show, and so it wasn't ECW. And at the end, that Steve Austin come out and drink some beer, just stand and have everybody in the ring. But Steve Austin on our show, even had Randy Orton on the show.
Wow. Yeah.
Like, that's not easy. Yeah, we have a lot of bad wrestlers, but the hardcore fans want to see us, want to see those bad wrestlers, you know, over the better wrestlers, you know, the WWE wrestlers, only because those fans will watch anybody.
Yeah. All right, Michael Gonzalez asks, and I didn't know if there was one, why the beef with Jim Ross? Was there one?
Oh, no, I was kidding around with that, and I didn't realize what I wrote. I tweeted, and when I seen it, I laughed. I go, fuck you, I'm not taking it back. You can't take a joke, and then no one took the joke.
But you were joking.
There was no heat with Jim Ross.
Yeah, okay. Fraser Kemp, what are your thoughts and feelings on the classic 30-minute time limit draw you had with Too Cold Scorpio in '96, and what was the worst match you were a part of in Japan, not gimmick-wise, but opponent-wise? So first, the 30-minute draw match you had with Too Cold Scorpio in '96. You remember that?
Yeah, that was a good match. Yeah, I liked it. Oh. What was the question about it, though?
Just say, what are your thoughts and feelings? Like, I guess what you remember of it. You said it was a great match, but is there anything that stands out?
Back then, you know, the matches weren't crisp, so we didn't talk out every spot. We had a couple spots. We go, I don't know when I'll do it, but when I say this, be ready. You know, or when I say that, be ready. So that's what we did. Yeah. In terms of the last 10 minutes, we had a lot of shit to do. So we just started making shit up, like stay, move, hit me, stop, you know, stop, and all this stuff. So that was fun as shit because the last 10 minutes was the best because we didn't know what we were going to do next. We were just getting through the next minute. We were dying.
Yeah. And he's also asking, what was the worst match you were ever involved in Japan? And I don't know, maybe injury-wise, or was there something that really stands out from them that was something that was dangerous? Or
probably injury-wise. It was in 1994, November of 94, Benoit broke my neck. And then in February 1995, he broke my shoulder. What? So the shoulder was the worst because I had a broken neck at the time.
Good Lord.
I was wrestling Chris Benoit, and I hit the floor, and I separated my shoulder. It's still separated today, but it was so funny because he broke my neck 2 months before that. 3 months before that.
Have you ever charted all of your injuries and scars? I mean, this would be...
No. I tried counting how many times I broke my hands. I can't count. It's been like, yeah, I lose count. I can't count how many times. I've always had my wrists and hands. Even Rob Van Dam, we both got bad wrists and hands. You know, from using our hands all the time, and especially lifting weights too. You know, we both kill ourselves lifting weights, and that kills our wrists. Wow. But my hands, I don't remember how many times I've had injuries to them.
Jeez. All right, TJ Stevens.
So no,
go ahead.
I never did it. I tried in my surgeries. I've only had a few.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, I'm stubborn. I don't go to the hospital unless I'm actually gonna, really, not make it. And like I went to the hospital the first time I did my first barbed wire match in Japan, and it took forever for them to put stitches in my leg, so I left. And I had cuts all over me. So I went back to the hotel and crazy glued them. And then that got to be my thing. So whenever I got cut, I'd crazy glue it. But if it was super bad, I would get stitches. But the only time I got super bad is when I did my bicep with Terry Funk. That one I couldn't super glue.
Just glue.
That one, I get added, get fixed. But I usually don't go to the hospital very often. Only if I absolutely have to.
Yeah.
Like when I got my replaced, I dragged my leg for 10 years. And I needed a new hip for 10 years. And it wasn't until I finally couldn't really move, until I couldn't move at all. I was actually almost paralyzed. And Melissa, Super Genie, forced me to get it fixed.
Yeah, wow. Probably a lot of surgeries you should have had that you didn't, right?
Yeah, like my neck still kills me, and I do need neck surgery, but they said do it. It can wait till you're done wrestling. Well, I'm never done wrestling.
Yeah. All right. TJ Stevens says my three favorite feuds you had in ECW was Taz, Cactus Jack, and Terry Funk. What were the differences and similarities between the three? Obviously, Taz is not like either Jack or Funk, but those are the ones that really stand out. How do they stand out to you, working with those three guys? Taz, Cactus Jack, and Terry.
Taz is more physical than both of those put together. Both those two put together. Those guys are good and smooth and look rough. Taz is rough.
Yeah.
Was rough. So I had all the matches and the roughness with Taz. With the other guys, it was just opposite. But I had better matches with the other guys. But don't tell Taz. Like we had good matches, but I like the matches with Funk and Cody a little bit better because they were more smooth.
Yeah. Well, that was the other part of his question. You want to know who you enjoyed working with, so you answered that. Also, TJ wants to know, what was the feeling backstage as you were preparing for the now infamous Terry Funk barbed wire match? Did you and Terry talk? I don't know what before you. What were you guys told after the match and abruptly ended? I mean, that was the one where you had that terrible bicep injury, right?
Yes, and also, what was supposed to happen for the finish, he was supposed to pin me. He couldn't roll over. We were stuck in the barbed wire. I couldn't roll him over, and he couldn't roll over. Oh. So the referee 1, 2, and stopped on his own, and he says, count it. Then he went 1, 2, 3.
Oh, jeez.
I think that's how it went. Because I remember we couldn't roll over. I haven't watched it in years, especially that part of it. But he was supposed to go over in the match. And then that's why 2 weeks later I lost it because I wasn't supposed to have it.
Yeah, and I know. I mean, you still have a huge scar from that. How bad an injury was that when it tore, when you got it ripped by that barbed wire?
It was almost horrific. It was almost like it cut my bicep in half, my tendon and my bicep. Like it cut my tendon and also my bicep. It wasn't just the tendon or just the bicep. It cut both, and I had 150 stitches. And it hit a vein. And it was so deep, it didn't bleed. It was just white meat and blood squirting out of the vein. And then it started to bleed, and that's when I taped it up. And that's that. That was pretty bad. I was scared at first because I started getting dizzy, but then when the dizziness went away, I said, this ain't nothing.
Couldn't super glue it, though.
No, I couldn't. No.
Okay. Also, they said there, ECW was the home of several future stars. RVD, Chris Jericho, Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, as you said, was kind of a stop there. Rey Mysterio.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, all these guys. But the question is, though, was there someone in the ECW roster that you feel never got a fair shot with bigger companies? Was there somebody there that you just never really understood why they didn't become a big star from ECW?
No, the guys you mentioned are big stars.
Yeah, became big stars.
Else, of course, there's like Mikey Whiplash. He never really got a fair shake. Spike Dudley did, but Mikey didn't. And Mikey was the first Spike Dudley type guy. And I didn't get I think I should have been a bigger name, bigger than I was.
Well, I think fame-wise, you got as big as anybody but the payday. You should have been paid for that same recognition, right?
But my uncle would say, you can't eat that belt.
Yeah,
you can't eat that trophy.
That's right. You need the money. All right. It's been told that ECW, to help reduce costs, would often give wrestlers office jobs. Tommy Dreamer and the Dudleys sold merch. Stevie Richards answered the hotline. Taz designed some of the shirts and so on. Did you have a secondary job at ECW, and did they do this? Was that part of the way they did?
They did that voluntarily.
Yeah.
Almost pain in the assly. Taz and Dreamer were such a pain in the ass. Paulie had to give him a job. They lived down the street from each other. Paulie, I go, Paul, nothing against Taz, because Taz ended up being great afterwards. But in the beginning, Taz was a pain in the ass. And I go, why do you keep this pain in the ass around? He goes, he lives by me. Can't get rid of him.
He knows where I live. He knows where I live. Okay, Chris Marsh says, who was the dream match? Was there a dream match that you wish you had but never did get the opportunity with a certain, professional wrestler?
Yeah. Yes, Brock Lesnar. I wish I could dream and have, Brock Lesnar. He's my ideal opponent. Big, strong guys that don't do my moves. That's what I like. Guys that don't do the shit I do.
Yeah. And that would have been an awesome match to see. Jared England says, how many scars do you have on your body? I know you've been asked this a bunch of times, but that's what Jared was saying.
I never counted them, but I would say maybe I don't know, 100, maybe more. I mean, there's like barbed wire pokes. Do those count as scars? Maybe 100, yes.
All right. Well, that's it for the questions. And Sabu, you really, I tell you, I watched several matches. I went back leading up to our conversation, and I have to tell you, man, it's just incredible what you have done in the ring. You were so far ahead of your time on a lot of these, and now you see a lot of these kids today emulating it. But I don't know if you think of it that way, that you did, blaze a trail in professional wrestling that's being honored today.
Yeah, when I see someone break a table and I like it, I go, yeah, right on. It wasn't for me, they wouldn't be breaking shit. But usually I watch people break tables and I go, man, that's terrible. I like it because I'm glad they did it terribly, because mine's better. But when someone does one as good as mine or better, I appreciate that too,
But do you see? When you look at what they're doing today, does some of it frighten you because the way they're pushing it? You got guys coming off balconies, and does any of that?
Yeah. The thing is, see, I always said jumping off a balcony is too far from wrestling. It's too far from the ring. Yeah. Jumping off the back of a truck or the building, you can't do that in wrestling because it's not by the ring. Yeah. So I broke a table because it was ringside furniture. Yeah. I threw a chair because the chair is all around the arena. Yeah. I hit him with a bell because the bell was next to the table, on the table. I didn't originally pull a table out under the ring. I hated that. I only used the table because it was the ringside timekeeper and an own table. I used it because it was there. I didn't use it because I go, hey, I'm going to use a table. If I was going to think of something, I'd hit him with a goddamn hammer. I wouldn't use a table. Right. I'm not using a table because that was there,
Right. But does what some of they're doing, the dangerous part of it, does it concern you at all?
Yeah. No, it don't concern me. Someone will get killed, and that won't be my fault because I didn't jump off buildings.
Right.
Even Shane McMahon's doing, he's killing it, killing the business by jumping off the sky, jumping out of the sky into a big crash pad or whatever he's doing. That's too far from the realm of wrestling. If a guy's going to climb up that thing and jump on me, for sure I have time to move. If I was knocked out and woke up an hour later, I had time to move.
Yeah. Yeah, it's...
that's too far from the realm of wrestling. So, no, that don't impress me. So if he kills himself, I say, ha-ha. But if I see a guy kill himself in the ring, I go, oh, man, poor dude, what a hero, all that. If I see someone jump off a skyscraper or a building, whatever, and they break their ass, that's too bad. Like Combat Zone, they do a thing off the back of a building with a truck full of light bulbs. After they start the match in the ring, they wrestle in the ring and end up on the roof of the building, jumping in a truck full of light bulbs. How convenient.
It's crazy.
And how far from the realm of wrestling can you get?
Yeah. And what do you think about what's going on now with AEW and NXT, and is this all good for the business? What do you think of all this now?
NXT. What's NXT?
With the WWE, and now you've got AEW with Cody.
Yeah, you're right. I think that it's great that A&E is starting up, but are they as good as WWE? Hell no, but let people think so.
Yeah.
You'll find out, I guess.
Awesome.
But they're offering a lot of top dollar, and so that's great that we have someone else offering top dollar besides Vince.
Yeah, and it's creating more opportunities for a lot of these guys too.
Right.
So in that sense.
Yeah, most definitely. So I'm glad they're doing what they're doing. But they're trying, like, I watched the show and they're saying we got the best wrestlers in the world. No, they don't. But that's okay. That if they can prove the people good, but they don't have the best wrestlers in the world.
Yeah.
Part of being a good wrestler is an over. Not just good technically. But anyways, I'm glad they're doing. Sweet.
Yeah, it's just helping professional wrestling. All right, folks. So don't miss your chance to get Sabu's book, Scars, Silence, and Super Glue. And you can go to the website, ecwsabu.com, and you can get a signed copy through that. Or, as Sabu mentioned, you can get it on Kindle. You can do it right online. So that works as well, right?
Yes, I prefer it because I don't have to send it to you. But if you want it autographed, you'd have to get it from me on the website.
All right. Well, I know you're still out there performing. I hope I run into you down the road sometime. But, Sabu, I'm so glad that we finally caught up with each other, and thanks for coming on Primetime.
Right on. I appreciate it. Thank you.